Hello, all of you wonderful beings out there, and welcome back to the stream. I am Razim, and this is DevTales, where we're going to be working on our SCAR system. We also have Conrad here working on art down there in the bottom left, and I'm using the TF talkies, so you guys can TF me live here on stream. Because it's TF Tuesday. So, for tonight... Oh, yes, we also, in the upper left there, have ducks, because ducks are good. Quack. Quack. Quick reminder to everybody, Conrad's brother is going through some... he's got tonsillitis. He's needing some surgery for it. We do have the tip goal set up for that. If any of you can help, just tip to the channel through that and I'll send it along. So please consider helping out if you can. If you do want to, remember that commissions are open. You can get a full model. You can get your own duck that you can throw at me here on stream. Those are $40 each. Or you can get a plushie version of your character to drop on me for $100. But yeah, please consider helping out with the medical bills and such. For now, let's get into the dev. The first thing I would like you guys to take a look at and share your opinions on is the Death and Downs rework on page 68.
Also, hello.
Hello, Zerda.
Hello.
See you.
Whoever just loaded up the document, congratulations, you won the lottery. You are a duck.
It's me.
Of all the little things that you can be on here, of course, somebody tonight happened to be a duck. We also have an anonymous Loris and a hamster.
I think I might have gone duck last time too. Or was either duck or dragon?
An anonymous horse?
Loris. I think it's some
Loris.
kind of primate.
Oh, well, I guess that's me, because I've been sitting on the Deaths and Downs page since I read it earlier.
Even if you have input, you are also welcome to join voice. But yeah, I know Era had some notes on it. He has not given me them. And well, I'm probably gonna go live with these updates, so I guess if there are changes, they'll go into effect with the next update.
Oh, I see the assist rules got changed around too.
There have been a couple of small updates across the board. Again, we'll put it in the patch notes here soon.
Oh, healing compatibility is new.
What was that?
I was remarking on healing compatibility, which is nice.
Okay, let me see.
Oh, yeah, that. You're actually looking for this section.
Oh, I'm aware. I am already there.
I was talking about the duck who has highlighted death on the other's column.
Alright, yeah, right here, the death and downs. I'll just roll it
Yep.
too. So, the whole thing is, oh, okay, I see what happened here. It looks like it got reworked and tired.
Yeah, we've done a lot to rework it.
How many healing and damage over time effects are there in the game?
A good number of them. Give me one sec.
There's several different damage over time effects, but there's only one healing, but you can add that to most any move.
Let's see. I believe there's Blight. I think it's Blight, Weary, Brittle, Frostbite, Burn.
Most of the conditions cause damage in addition to their other effects. When you are incapacitated, you stop being affected by those. And it also stops healing over time.
Which is good, because otherwise the overtime effects would either trivialize going down, or possibly, in the case of healing, cause an up-down situation.
Yeah.
Or they would make it very easy for you to be put in the dirt.
But yeah, just let me know when you're done reading that, Zerda, and we can discuss.
Yep, on the last 2 paragraphs. Okay.
Alright, so thoughts from all of you about that? Before we had a rather complicated setup with death saves and all of that stuff. Like, it was kind of needlessly complex.
My first initial take, and this is only from, like, everything else, like I said, is pretty straightforward. The only thing is I'm a little bit... The damage over time and healing over time stuff, ceasing I get, but then starting back up after you, like, get, like the resuming of it is kind of weird. That's the only thing. I only think it's just a little bit weird, but I'm also not familiar, obviously, with it. But like having like a timer stop when you go down, and then the timer resume when you go up, but that timer could also then make you go down again immediately. So it's just a little bit. It's a little bit weird. Like I would say, just have it cease entirely, and then if there is so many things that are triggering, healing and damage over time effects, then just let those things be applied again. It's just really weird to have to have a timer, stop the timer, and then resume the timer later, like narratively.
Yeah, I will agree that that is an odd one to have, but it's something that we included mostly for the sake of balance on this. Because if they just kept going, you'd be taking the 1 HP per turn damage in addition to... I mean, we could just have them immediately cease altogether.
Yeah.
Just
I
be
think
cleansed.
that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I think it's one of those things, because, like, if there's enough things that are causing these effects to begin with, then you might as well just have that, because the last thing you want to do is go up and then immediately go down, because, your 15 HP, whatever poison is suddenly, reactivated. It just makes it weird from a narrative standpoint. Like, I get, like, you kind of faint and, stuff begins to wash off you as, you go down to this kind of slow down effect, but having things resume is the weird part. Not the stopping. Ceasing is mechanically sound. Some systems, like, for example, in, I know, like, for example, in, Pathfinder, they'll have, like, you can still roll to save against them, but they still affect you all the way through. To be a little bit more balanced, I would say ceasing is perfectly fine. Unless you're trying to be, like, really, really, like, gritty and stuff, I don't really think that you should, like, keep suffering, like, poison damage or something, for example, while you're already down. I think just having them cease is fine, but I think trying to keep track of what timers and how much time is left every single time it goes up and down is just gonna lead to more confusion.
I mean, the timer still keeps going.
Yeah, the way I read that is that it's not that their durations stop when you go down, they persist, you're just not affected by them while you are down and bleeding out.
I could, I could clarify that more, but yeah, the intention was they still keep going. They just stop affecting you while you are down, but then if they have any remaining duration, they resume when you're back up. Most of them by default have a duration of 5 rounds. So if you go down, say you're 2 rounds into it, you go down and you're down for 2 rounds. Then you go back up. Well, there's only 1 round left on them, and so they hit you and then they are gone.
Yeah, but what about that immediately then putting people back down again from that again? Because then that just... it's a little bit of a bouncing effect. Especially, like, if there is, like, higher damaging effects, I feel like it's going to cause a kind of bouncing effect where someone just got someone up, and it's going to be, like, not really worth getting someone up, because, it's not going to be worth getting someone up until those timers go down, because let's say you can't heal them enough to overpower the, like, damage over time effects. So it's better to just let them lay there until that goes away, and then, revive them after. In a sense, will help them get up after, because it's gonna lead to just some really weird narrative decisions like that, or weird mechanic decisions. I mean,
which I can agree with. I understand it both ways. The way it's balanced now makes sense from a mechanical standpoint, but from a narrative standpoint, it does make more sense to just have the dot effects just cease.
Especially if it's only going to be for like a round anyways. Like,
it would make most sense to just have them not cease, period.
That's something I would also say. It just depends on how brutal that is. Because also, if you know, for example, someone is down and they're not able to take care of damage over time effects, that's going to cause the party to make a lot bigger decisions based off the fact that, hey, they can't take care of themselves right now. Oh no, I need to go help them. It's going to add tension to someone that's already down, and it's going to make getting someone up more valuable as well as more impactful, you know?
What are your thoughts on this then, Key?
So you could do it any of the three ways, and it could be fine. The simplest way to do it, that requires the least amount of tracking, is that when you go down, dots cease, and that's it. Be it healing or damage, they just cease, and then you get up, and they can be reapplied. Because it's true, we have multiple ways that these things can be applied, and they're fairly common in general. I personally lean towards the side of either letting them cease or just letting them continue to persist. That way you don't need to keep track of rounds of something where it's not actually happening per se. And allowing people to continue even while they're down to resist? Question mark? It depends on the dot or healing what exactly happens. The only issue with letting them persist is that if someone has healing over time and they're knocked down, they almost immediately bounce back. Which, I mean, that's a perk of having healing over time available to you, I guess.
And healing is a very supportive type thing. So, like, imagine, like, placing, like, or spinning, like, around someone, let's say, is really close to death, or really close to going down, and you pop a healing over time on them effect, specifically because it'll hopefully get them up whenever they do, go down. And that is a strategic decision that can be made. And it might change how someone plays, or how someone reacts, or how someone does something. Like, that may actually add to someone's, decision making on their turn. And that's always something good, just to make it feel like a little bit different,
Alright. I think the best option is just to remove the whole overtime effects thing and just have them keep going. While, yeah, there is that problem of they can cause some issues, keeping somebody down and pushing them towards death faster. At the same time, it does make the most sense.
That's what I'm saying. And it's both positive and negative. And, like, it's one of those things where, like, assuming that the storyteller's not, like, trying to intentionally, like, really beat on one person in particular, I think there's enough correction with the party, assuming that the party is trying to keep everyone up and around. I think it'll lead to a better overall, teamwork versus trying to, like, that. I think it'll lead to an overall better teamwork experience.
Key, you agree with removing the overtime effect stuff altogether? Like, where it'll still keep going?
Yeah, that's fine by me. Like, if you wanted, there could always be, like, a sidebar or whatever for this sort of thing. Like, hey, if your storyteller wants to run a game that's, easier or harder, there are ways that you can do it. Here's something we may suggest.
I agree. I think it always. I think that I agree with that. You could just be like, hey, if you want an easier time, or if you want a more easier time with it, just have them, like, basically where it was like, if you want an easier way to handle death, just have the effects cease entirely. just to let people know that is the other option, but here's the base option.
Okay.
Definitely doing, like, it is essentially two extremes. One is a lot more tactful and impactful, and the other is more loosey and lenient with it. So I think having two different kinds of people, I think, would be perfectly fine with that.
We'll just remove it, and I'll consider adding that as an optional rule later.
Yeah.
Otherwise, any other issues with it?
I don't see anything I could have any umbrage with. I would need to brush up
Outside
on...
of that, it was pretty clear.
What
I
was
need
that?
to brush up on. I need to brush up on wounded conditions.
So the wounded condition is not fully finished yet. It is something that we will be working on. But basically, right now, the storyteller will determine where the wound is. It's on page 93, the text we have for it so far. The storyteller will determine where it's located. And it could have some effects, like we put in here: wound to wing, no flying; wound to leg, half movement; a wound to arm, disables attacks for using that arm, etc., etc. They are long-term things that will take time to heal from. But by base, a wound will cause you to have lower HP until it is recovered from.
Okay.
That said, you can only get a stage 1 wound per fight. At least from, going down. It'll just mean that it'll take longer to recover from. Is how it'll work.
Okay.
If that is if you just keep going down and down and down and down and down. Hey
Gets
there,
up,
Dip.
push back in the dirt.
Yeah, basically. It's like, okay, this wound is just getting worse and worse, and it's going to take longer and longer to heal from. But it's still only going to reduce your max HP by 75%.
Of course, if you get into another fight while you're wounded, you're gonna get another stage of wound if you go down again.
Exactly. That's how you go up in stages. So it's not super bad, but it is still something to be careful of.
Yeah, I'm good with everything Death and Downs thus far.
Cool. Then on to Tal's notes here. We got done with chapter 6. Right, I didn't mark off.
If it's Tao's notes before chapter 5, it might be stuff that I specifically talked with him about, because I spent like literally 6 hours or 5 hours in a single night, and then like 3 hours the next night just going over chapters like 1 through 5, mostly 1 through 4.
He and I already went through chapters 1 through 6. He doesn't have a whole lot of notes for chapter 7 and 8, and that's where his notes stop.
Let's see.
Okay, so chapter 7. He says, melee moves start with 5 feet of reach, which means that the description is wrong and you'd only need to purchase it 3 times in order to get 20-foot reach. It would be really nice to have him here.
Have you pinged him?
Yes, he's not able to join tonight. But I can't do this Thursday like we normally do because of other stuff, so... Alright, so melee reach. Reach allows your melee moves to affect targets from further away. Each purchase gives an additional 5 feet of reach. A move may only reach up to 10 feet by itself without the user moving. Beyond this, the user may utilize this trait to allow themselves to use any remaining movement to go up to within 10 feet of the target. This movement may be just about any variety that makes sense, and could include a teleportation effect. However, these movements will provoke an attack of opportunity along the way, even with a teleportation effect, and must be in a straight line to the target. When using your movement, you can only do so up to your maximum movement and must be purchased per 5 feet. So if you have 30 feet of movement speed and are trying to use this trait, and you only purchase this trait 4 times, then you may move up to 10 feet, provided you have not used that during a movement action, and then use the move on a target 10 feet from your new location. I don't see what he means by the description is wrong.
So if you purchased it 4 times, why would it say you can use the move on a target 10 feet away, and that should be 20?
So the 4 times is you'd have to move 10 feet, and then your range, because basically when you've got the melee reach, it allows you to, for more than the 10 feet, that is, it allows you to move towards a target without having to use an action for movement.
Okay, I understand. So it's a catch-all of reach, not only for the move itself, but also you moving. Okay.
Yes. Though I do see what he means, because, okay, so yeah, for this, you would need to purchase it only 3 times to get the 10 feet of reach plus 10 feet of movement. That's the problem. Okay.
I feel like the math might be a little confusing for some people at first, but now that I understand it encompasses, at least better understand it, both encompasses movement as well as the range of the move itself, then yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
I'm gonna put a note box here to explain this in a different way. You think the Riolu Squirrel Taki is the best squirrel? Funny enough, it got a lot of downvotes.
What? How dare?
It overall wound up in the positives, but yeah. When it was first posted to E621, because I post the art all over the place. Got to get that reach wherever I can. It got a lot of downvotes. Probably from people who are like, it's Riolu, therefore it is young.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah, no, I could see that. The other people's reaction, I mean.
God, I still hate that they pulled that nonsense on FA. They painted that target, and it's like, have you guys not seen the... Have you not seen the anime at all? Did you not see that ancient as fuck Trico? You telling me that guy is underage? Really? Seriously?
Yep. 700 years old is just baby for the universe.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's fair, Toshime, though. I mean, it was all posted together, so it was, you know, the full TF. So it's not like it was, you know... I mean, it was safe for work, but not, you know... I'm trying to think of the right term to use here. Brain does not want to work for that.
Well, a lot of people, a good amount of people don't consider TF like safe for work in general. So there's also that crowd as well.
Yeah. I know on, I think the site is called Itaku. Every one of my TF pieces get rated as questionable on there.
Weirdos.
On the outside, people have been really liking the Lycanroc image that I got done. That's gotten a few favorites on Fendi.
I know people have been liking the Nim Lycanroc.
Everybody likes Nim.
I can think of a few people that don't.
I was gonna ask, is the Lycanroc good for the storytelling thing, or do I need something, or do I need a different one specifically for that? I wasn't sure since I'm not.
That's fine.
Okay, because I'm not a player, so I don't have, you know, I don't really have
the storyteller icon does not need to match the group. It can, but it does not need to. Like for the Pokemon group, the Pokemon game I'm going to be running, I am using... bring it up on stream here. This talkie icon. Which I know it's partially cut off, but that is my Sableroo as opposed to a Pokemon.
Okay. I'll have to... And I can... If you want to give me the border, I can do...
No.
myself as well.
No.
What? Okay.
They have to be done by Mirai. They are all being done by the same artist.
Huh? No, the border. I thought the border was... I thought it was universal.
Well, yes, the border is, but you don't have art from Mirai.
Oh, okay. I thought you... I was talking about the Lycanroc image from, Whiskers. Okay, no, that's why I was confused. You're good. I thought I was talking about the, Whiskers one.
Yeah, no, that one won't be usable for your storyteller icon.
Okay, cool. Then if that's the case, then I actually do have a different Sona that I can use. I'm currently getting the Lugamon variant of my persona. Like I was
Just
showing you the
make
other
sure
day.
you get me the description and stuff for it, right away, because I
Yeah.
need to get Mirai on it before they are no longer available for a while. I also need a title for your game, as well as the logo idea and the border idea.
That I can actually work on. Because I'm actually doing the poll stuff tonight as well for the group. I just had to make sure that we were good with the theme before I could continue anything.
Yeah, Mirai's sister is currently pregnant, and she's coming up to, giving birth, and Mirai won't be available for a while after that happens to help out. So, we've got limited time frame to get this stuff done.
They're gonna be working like crazy.
To be fair, the talkie icons are pretty fast for them to get done, but I need people to get me the ideas for them to get them done.
And I know Jima was talking about just a very slight eye different variant as well. But that was the most he wanted, was just having that eye variant.
Okay, so I have put in here a new note box for the melee reach. Remember, you start with 5 feet of range by default, so each purchase adds another 5 feet. To explain this trait in a slightly other way, the melee reach trait allows you to perform a limited movement alongside your attack instead of needing to use a movement maneuver to get close enough. The maximum that you can actually physically reach with a melee move is 10 feet. For each purchase beyond that, it gives you 5 feet of movement towards the target. No worries, Ido. Just remember you're starting as a rookie. So you're gonna have to, plan to be a Gaumon. I think that's the pre-ev. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, how does that notebox sounds?
I think that's worded pretty well, actually.
That is very succinct and helpful, especially for someone like me who gets spaghetti brain. Also, yes, Gaumon is rookie.
Oh, well, I mean, that's fair, Ido. I didn't know if you were or not. I was just making sure you knew. Okay, so this is going to be more hotfix. I'm not going to bother with the highlighting on it. It's more just clarification. So page 79, let me add this as a note. Also something I'm going to go do up in chapter 1. The heck is that tube, and how did that duck get in there? I had not seen that on this map before. This map has so many little things all over the place. Thank you for the head pats. I was just putting in explanation of note boxes versus rules boxes at the beginning of the book. Which probably should have been there forever ago, but, you know. Still working on this thing. Anyways, we have finished with the melee reach thing, so we'll cross that off. Increase save DC trait needs to be specified that you're limited to ranks and associated skill for the move. Can only be purchased equal to the amount of dots you have in the relevant skill. Well, it's up there at least. I guess I didn't put it down in the description below. Condition move traits. Where is that? There it is. Yeah, that'll also be part of the, I'm not gonna... It was already part of the rules, so it's gonna be a hotfix rather than a full patch. It just wasn't in the description as well as the table. Alright, so that is finished. Specify that remove condition makes you choose which condition needs to be removed instead of removing all positive conditions from the enemy. Did I not do that? Okay, well, up above it says removes a positive condition from the target, such as protected or healing over time. That's under tactical. Yeah, I could definitely reword this a bit. Another one of the hot fixes. I appreciate you guys being here, even though right now I don't have a whole lot that I need input on.
I'm just glad to be helping in some way. Even if I'm not really doing too much.
Vibrationalization stick.
Okay, so that's taken care of. Okay. Well, Tal put in here that pushback is like ridiculously good. And he says this objectively, it's going to need to have a fucking insane cost since it lets you attack and take a 5-foot step at the same time. Does it allow them to attack? Doesn't say it on the table. Here we go. Well, I guess if you're adding it to a move, yeah, you could have the move also attack and do damage.
Yes. Does not trigger an attack of opportunity from the target.
Yeah, anytime you can avoid attack of opportunities, that's always a big deal, because that's already like something that they have to go out of their way to do in the first place.
It would also have to have a high priority, given that, or sorry, not a high priority, a low priority, because if it happens first, then it could put you out of range of what you're doing.
Well, he is kind of our numbers guy, and we're going to have to figure out... Because, like, this isn't really something... This is something that's kind of been here forever. Like, we've got question marks for it because we've got no idea what to put it for a cost yet. We just know the effects right now. So...
Sorry, I'm just reading swap for a second. Okay, swap only swaps if they're adjacent. I'm curious. Okay, so I know it wouldn't explicitly work that way, but I get the feeling that a storyteller might allow someone that has a teleport swap move to swap from a distance.
Sorry, repeat that?
Distance-based swapping.
Well, I was looking at swap because it's under the same section as pushback. And you can only swap places by the way the trait works when you're adjacent with someone or something.
Yes.
But I could see a storyteller allowing a move that, say, has teleportation into range to swap at a ranged.
Yeah, but that won't be part of the default rules. So that would be
No.
a table. That would be a homebrew ruling.
Sorry. Anyway, as for pushback, I don't know. I would say 10 experience by default. Just like as a temporary number. Which is paying double the amount of feet that you're moving effectively.
What do you mean double?
Or is it double?
Oh,
it is
yeah,
double.
it is per purchase. I think this would be a one-time purchase.
I don't know. Don't you want people to be able to Dragoon jump off the arena and die?
Fair point. I think we'll probably need Tau for that. Yeah, we'll skip that one for now. Can stealthy moves be used when in the open without opponents automatically noticing? Yes. Proposed EXP cost between 10 to 15 maybe? I could see stealthy being, maybe we go in the middle being 12.
I was gonna say between 10 to 15, 12 is a good medium.
Yeah.
Especially since, like, in the open, it can allow you to basically sleight of hand a move.
That's basically what it is, yeah. It allows you to use the move without automatically just revealing that you've used a move. So I'll clarify that as well.
I discreetly create a miniature sun above our heads. Don't ask me how.
I put in here, I put onto it, this trait allows you to use the move without the target knowing where the move came from. It can be used in the open, and the target will still be able to recognize the effects, but they do not automatically know it came from you. That said, if you and the target are alone in the middle of a field and they are suddenly blasted by a ball of fire, a reasonable deduction would say you are the likely source. Or you are likely the source. 'Cause, yeah. But if you're in a crowded street or something, then they wouldn't necessarily know it came from you.
Me quietly hiding the Eldritch Archer sniper build that I have been keeping in my back pocket.
Looks like we lost Conrad.
Uh-oh.
then priority on it doesn't really matter. Because it's not really something that has a when does this trigger thing. I'll switch my category. I won't switch over the screen to the one without the, I won't switch the screen to the one without the box for him, in case he comes back, but for now, we'll continue and see if he comes back. Oh, that takes care of the stealthy note.
So what is this about reposition?
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Oh, that's why I looked at swap. Because the description of swap, it says it's a reposition trait, which may just be a holdover term.
Well, no, like pushback, knockback, swap. These are all reposition traits.
Then I don't really know what he wants there. I think we'd need Tau for that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Because the reposition itself is a category of traits, not a... drag is another reposition trait. It's not a... Yeah, I'm just gonna put a note next to this one. So yeah, I'll highlight that so he sees it, hopefully. Next item. We need to specify better that people can make dedicated quick or full action moves without them needing to be dynamic. We do say they can do it in the actions and move sections, but he doesn't think people realize.
Oh, I think I know where the confusion is. Well, it is in the first paragraph, because dynamic moves starts with bolded words, that draws attention to it as if it's its own sectioned off thing.
Sorry, repeat that? ADHD struck.
No, that's okay. So while the quick or full action decision is in the first paragraph under actions and moves, the second paragraph is about dynamic moves, which has dynamic moves, the first two words bolded as if they're the start of something important. So that is probably drawing attention to people who are skimming through the document, and they end up skipping over important information in the first paragraph.
Alright, let me read this whole section to see how I can rewrite it to word it better. I guess I can put a rules box in here to clarify that a bit. It looks like Conrad had his net shut off on him.
Oh dear.
Oh.
He's going through a real rough time financially. Which reminds me again, guys, we are doing a fundraiser for him to help him out. He is, his brother is in need of surgery for tonsillitis, and so we have a tip goal set up for that. So if you guys can help, please consider doing so. But let's go ahead and swap over to this view then, since unfortunately he won't be back tonight. Alright, so I put in a box here. Dynamic moves versus changing action time. You are able to spend 10 extra XP to make a dynamic version of a move, which allows you to make a quick, standard, and full action version of moves. Which allows you to make... We'll remove the A there. Which allows you to make quick, standard, and full action versions of the move. Of a move. Alternatively, you can simply decide that a move is a full action or quick action move and enjoy the benefits of those versions instead of making the move as a whole dynamic. That should help draw attention to this. You know, I'm putting it after the paragraph about dynamic moves.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those where, unfortunately, sometimes people are just going to miss important stuff. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, as long as it's in the rules, at least it's the best you can kind of do.
Though, honestly, if you're making a full action move, you might as well just spend that XP to make it dynamic. But there is value in having a purely quick action move. But just because it, you know, just because you can have quick or full, or just because it's better to make a full action move dynamic instead does not mean that we can't allow the option if they want.
I think some people might not necessarily understand that when you make a dynamic move, you aren't paying individually for each version. You are building up from the foundation of a quick action.
That is something that I have tried to make clear in this.
I think that's something that comes down to experience.
Yeah, I think it's something that is simply... Yeah, experience is basically the best way to go about it. I'll put in a note box, though. I can at least do that to clarify this a little bit more.
I was going to say, because the paragraph right after the little rules box there says specifically, these moves must be different iterations of the same move. The traits from the quick action must be in the standard and full action ones, so you cannot have healing on the quick action version unless it also exists in the standard action version. You may want to swap that around. You cannot have healing on the standard if it's not on the quick action.
Thank you for that. That is the way it should be.
Which, I do understand what that's going for, because basically, if you have a dynamic move, you can't make it so it does 3 different things. It is just one thing that you're doing in 3 different ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, basically.
Let me read further paragraphs just in case what I'm about to say is nonsense. Negative ones. So the way this is worded, it means that the quick action is basically the foundation of the entire dynamic move. However, that means that you can make the standard and full action ones do 2 interestingly different things. Because I remember building an enemy that has a dynamic move, but the standard action is specifically to target multiple enemies, whereas the full action is a high-powered blast.
Okay, my brain's been trying to parse what you said. Repeat it, please.
So based on the paragraph that we just corrected, the quick action is the foundation of a dynamic move, meaning the traits from the quick action must be in the standard and full action versions. However, it does not specifically state that the standard action traits must also be in the full action version.
That is the way it's supposed to work. Let me go ahead and fix that.
Okay.
Well, I did put in here the same applies to the standard version versus the full version. But I could expand that and clarify it more.
Okay. Words. Brain decided to noodle there for a minute. Okay,
Well,
because
no,
that
that
makes sense.
it could have been. It is probably beneficial to be more verbose, I believe would be the term, rather than consynced on some of this.
If only for people like me who have noodle brain and go, wait a minute, this does not specifically say this. Having played Pathfinder far too much, where if something does not specifically say a thing, it does not do it.
Alright, so I changed that line to, this is also the case when building the full action version, as it requires everything that is in the standard action version.
The only thing I'm sorry about is that it has messed with the formatting.
It's fine. Alright, I put in here a note box. Dynamic moves are intended to be where the quick action version sets the foundation, the standard version builds on that foundation, and then the full version is the ultimate version of the quick action move. If a trait is in the quick version of the dynamic move, it must be in the standard one as well as the full action one, and anything added to the standard version must be in the full action version. The only exceptions to this are below. And that's when I get into the next paragraph where it's like, negative traits don't need to carry over and such. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good
that
to me.
makes sense. That's clear.
And something new that I'm still just going to have as part of the hotfix because we've got it elsewhere is simply, I updated the first line. The only traits that do not have to carry over are negative ones, as well as traits that specifically say they can only be in a certain action version of a move, such as Fury only being allowed in quick actions.
Ah, yes. That is important.
Yeah. And I also made sure to... I left it open-ended in case we eventually add others. Because right now I don't have plans for anything else that requires a specific time frame for them, but, you know.
That's fair, but it's always possible it could appear down the line. And it also opens up dynamic moves to allowing Fury. It just only works on the quick action version.
Alright, so that is finished. Next up. Random idea. I really like the idea that a unit of measurement for magic is called motes. Just throwing that out there. Well, thanks, Tao, but I'm not so certain about that one. Well, no, because we are going to have magic, and it is something that I've put in a couple of notes about. Not much of it yet. But my only concern about using motes is I'm only familiar with it being used in one system for describing, basically a mana pool, and that is Exalted. Whereas mana is used in literally every game out there.
Motes is more common than that. Motes are typically a vessel of magic as well. I've seen it in a few different games. It shows up in a few like MMOs. It shows up a lot in MMOs where you have like an air mode or earth mode. I think even RuneScape has it as well at some point in some of the later like rune crafting stuff. So it is a common word that is used in fantasy magic, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm like saying at it. But it is used more than just Exalted. I've seen the word mote passed around a lot.
I've only seen it used in Exalted myself.
I only ever saw it used in Neopets, that one PS2 game. And it wasn't even a measure of magic, it was things you could collect.
Yeah, I've seen it used as a thing you can collect, but when we're talking about what you're actually, using to cast a spell, in almost everything it's mana.
But in fairness, the measurement of magic does not need to be motes or mana. It can be literally whatever. Anyone who's read, say, for instance, the Tower of God manhwa, the measure of your magical power is called, I think it's called bangs. It's been forever since I've read it, and they're usually represented by like floating cubes for some reason.
I think because magic itself is basically obviously a fantasy concept. Fantasy, you know what I mean by that, but it's like every system has its own like word for it. I think it'd be easier just for you to like if you're gonna make this system, more system agnostic, it would just be whatever setting you have. Star Wars has the midichlorians, and they have that. I'm not really in favor of trying to attach a hard word to it,
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna keep it as mana, I think.
Yeah. It's the idea of magic in general. You don't need to break the mold on anything. The mana is used to hitting everything in the world.
I do really need to get to finishing up the magic system. I know a lot of campaigns are putting in their own pseudo magic thing, and they're all over the place and weird and stuff because everybody's doing their own thing. And so clearly there is a desire for it. I also need to put in actual martial arts, because I intend for those to be different from weapons and moves, though share some traits with magic.
You talking about like a key system or something?
Yeah, basically.
The idea of a key system.
Yeah, basically like key.
Key or stamina or... I forget what the name of the point system is for... I even forget the name of the system, apparently. The
system, yeah.
The one Pathfinder add-on that makes marshals more like casters.
Oh, Path of War.
Yeah.
The
one that has all the maneuvers.
Akashic or whatever.
I think they have like the Akashic, the Mystic, and all the other things, the Harbinger, the Sentinel.
Oh yeah, I know that. I know what you're talking about.
Honestly, the focus point system works really well for that kind of stuff. And focus is a...
Hey there, Era. Good to see you. I hope you had a good time. You ready to get to work?
Eric, you...
Oh, sorry to hear that, Era, but I hope you had a good time. I mean, it is very correct. You are cute.
Oh.
Especially if you're just gonna go curl up in bed and sleep right now, Era. That just means you're especially cute.
Era is French-shaped, aka long, especially in the tail department.
I am sure everybody appreciates all the hard work you put in.
Well, Era, since you are here, I did have one question for you that is in Tao's doc review here. Do you recall anything about a reposition trait? Like, he wrote in here, again, I really think we need to put the reposition trait into the game. We agree that it should be there, we just keep forgetting to put it in, damn it. His words. Well, yeah, that's what I'm confused by, is, like, he's talking about, like, an actual reposition trait, when reposition is kind of more of a subcategory for the tactical move traits. So I was wondering if you remembered what he was talking about. Because, like, reposition traits are things like drag, knockback, pushback, and swap. Yeah, these are all reposition traits. Okay, I was hoping you might know what the hell he's talking about, but oh well. Alright, there are 2 more things to go over, and then we can probably work on something more engaging, such as the magic system.
Ooh.
Can I ask one thing real fast regarding it?
Sure.
I'm not. This is not related to stuff we talked about tonight, but I did notice. I was looking at the rules for the like falling. I feel like they're. I was looking at the rules for like the falling, and a round is 6 seconds, right?
Yes.
Falling 30 feet over 6 seconds doesn't feel very forceful. Because I think in like I think even Pathfinder's like 500 feet per like round and stuff. And it's only 6 feet a second.
Where are you getting 500 feet in one round?
That's just specifically Pathfinder, but I feel like 30 feet around for. Because that's 30 feet over 6 seconds, which is. Yeah, I think it's like what, like six feet over a second? I feel like people should fall a little bit faster than that. Let me double check that on. Pathfinder. Yeah, because I think, yeah, falling... Actually, no, it's even more than that. Let's see. Far do you fall?
So, according to what I'm seeing, they fall 150 feet in the first round and 300 feet in each succeeding round.
And D&D has 500 feet in 6 seconds, which is where I got the 500 number from. Because even gravity itself, like just normal gravity on Earth is like, what is it, 9 point something like feet per like seconds squared or something?
It's an error.
Oh, actually no, it's 32 feet per second squared is gravity on Earth.
I had to look at it. I already did the math. The terminal velocity for a normal human being that is 6 feet tall and male, weighing roughly 180 pounds to 200 pounds, would be 164 feet per second. So 150 feet for the first round is actually rather quick, close to terminal velocity, which would take an average about 10 seconds to hit. So
yeah,
I could break that down to further math, but I had to pop in and say that, yeah, me and Tel did that math already a few times.
Yeah, so 30 feet around falling is very, 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 very slow.
I don't think the rule book says that, does it? What does it
What
say?
page are you looking at?
Was I looking at the...
Which page is it on? Oh,
yeah,
here.
it is... Yeah, on
I see
page...
Page 54.
I can't find the page numbers. I actually don't... Oh, there we go, there it is. Bottom. Yeah, it's just 30 feet around. Maybe you meant to say a second? That would be more realistic, but I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
Then again, it doesn't have to be realistic at all. This is a game. So.
Well, also, 30 feet is also almost... I mean, that's just... That's just like, I mean, I'm pretty sure even like, that's like moon gravity. Like, I definitely don't say, like, go straight up 500 feet around. I think that's a little bit unrealistic unless you were, like, really, but I mean, like, I feel like a little bit more than 30 probably would make somewhat more sense.
If you're already at terminal velocity, then 500 feet and then 1,000 feet every round after makes sense, because that's
Yeah.
what's
Well, realistically, yeah. Realistically, yeah. But we're talking, like,
Popping
making
up.
it a little bit lighter for, just
Oh,
the system in
well,
general.
real quick, Era. The magic system is just something that I will work on here and there, rather than it's on hold. It's just I feel like working on this right now.
Okay. Either rate, I'm losing my voice, so I'm leaving. So bye.
See ya.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Well, I guess we'll just add another 0. Problem solved.
300. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Sure, why not?
If you're falling for more than a round, you're already gone. Wherever you're falling, you're already on your way to it.
This is why you always have Featherfall. Always.
You know, also, by the way, Featherfall is, if you actually look at the, so Featherfall specifically, because I did look it up, it changes your descent to 60 feet per round, and that's considered enough to safely fall.
I mean, yeah, that's 10 feet a second, which is fairly slow.
Yeah, that's why when we had 6 feet a second, I'm like, maybe it's a little bit slow.
And this
Well,
is
there.
why... This is why Last is not afraid of jumping off of a roof.
Okay, so back to Chapter 8, which we only have 2 notes on. We need to specify that accuracy modifiers help you on your application against resistance phase, unless we really want to remove that. We currently are running it like they do, and you also benefit from stab when in this phase, so that should really be specified here too. Honestly, part of me wants to just throw out all of the current rules for applying conditions and completely redo them, because I can't even make sense of what I've got in here. Or rather, I can, I just don't ever remember it.
Yeah, I have to actively keep the save DCs and everything built when I make a thing. I cannot do it on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah, Era, when it comes to falling period, you could just die from tripping. You could die from falling 5 feet. Technically, it is possible that you could survive a very high fall. It's just the higher up you're falling, the less likely you are to survive.
But then if you fall far enough, your survival rate doesn't change.
I know there was a game theory about falling and such, and how many nuggets. It was in regards to kindergarten, and how many nuggets you would actually need at the bottom to cushion your fall enough.
Oh yeah.
And even
remember
they
that
were
one.
like, you know, it's surprising how much you have a chance to survive, but your chance is drastically lower the higher up you are.
The highest fall survived without a parachute was 33,338 feet.
I feel like he would have reached terminal velocity at that point.
Yes.
They
So
prob-
make it even more. Double it.
Meh.
Double it and give it to the next person.
How dare you, Candy? Also, there are ways that you can hugely mitigate the kinetic force of your fall when you land.
And while falling, you hopefully have enough time to remember those things.
Yeah, you can drown in less than an inch of water, and also from the sky, fall from the sky and live.
Yep.
The human body is weirdly fragile, but also surprisingly strong at times.
We have the potential to be as tardigrades. Or a Fabergé egg.
And meanwhile, some people die to a single peanut. We have way too many analogies.
Human body survives 3,000 foot drop. Also human body. I slipped on banana peel. I'm crippled for life.
Alright, I think any changes to the application resistance of a condition is going to need the full dev team here for. And it's going to be something that we're going to have to delay to the next update.
That feels correct. Especially because what's being asked here is basically just a clarification of what is already being done. Which is accuracy helps you against resistance, and you also benefit from stab when applying.
Yeah, but that's... I think we're going to leave it be for now. And look at it as a whole soon.
Yeah.
Because I know it is complicated as hell, and we need to just... We need to do a major work on... We need to do major work on it. Just period.
The foundation is there. It's just slightly brain noodleifying.
Yeah. But the last thing that he mentioned on here is crit. Where did I put that? Here it is. 89. Crit chance, as stated before, only goes up to 3 buffs or debuffs. When you receive a single buff to your crit chance, it makes 9s explode and count for 2 successes, just like 10s do. 2 buffs make 8s explode, and then of course 3 buffs make 7s explodes. Or makes 7s explode. On the flip side of this, a single debuff makes 10s no longer explode and only count for 1 success. 2 debuffs increase the difficulty of the roll by 1, so the default difficulty becomes 8. 3 debuffs increase the difficulty by 2. Instead of making additional results explode, you may reduce the difficulty of the roll with crit chance, but you must decide this before rolling. This only applies to accuracy and other non-power checks. Which would include skill checks. I definitely think it is very powerful.
It is.
Definitely very powerful. Tal is suggesting we make it where it only applies to accuracy, which it would still be very powerful, but not quite as broken. But thoughts on that?
That feels like the easiest thing to do. Because well, there's a reason why systems like Pathfinder, technically you can't crit succeed or crit fail on a skill check. It's just something that's so widespread that people do it anyway. So even if we say that crit chance applies only to accuracy, there's nothing stopping anyone from also just ending up using it for skill checks too, because that's such a widespread misconception.
Yeah. I'm not against having it only apply to accuracy. And we could make a separate trait for applying buffs to skill checks. Because I do want the ability to... Well, actually, we could make that a magic thing altogether. Because that is typically where it falls under in other systems.
Crit chance or skill boost?
Skill boost.
I could see that. Like, we could just have a separate trait for making oneself more skilled. That does feel like something you wouldn't normally put on a move either. That seems like something you would put into like magic or a martial art, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm good with removing the accuracy, or having it only apply to accuracy checks.
Era does suggest you could just have it specify a move creation.
Between skill checks and accuracy. Yeah, but I think it would be better to separate those out either way.
I agree. It's nice to have something consolidated, but having it separate may make it easier to prevent weirdness and misunderstanding.
I do want to double check the cost of crit chance, though. Since we are removing part of its effectiveness. What did we make that cost?
Let's see here.
Crit chance change 25. I think we should lower that to 20. Still really expensive, but it feels better because we took away something from it. We should lower the cost of it.
Especially since we are also taking away damage is one of the things that it affects.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna reduce the cost of it.
Welcome back. Your steadfast loyalty is greatly appreciated.
Shadow Wolf 149 just resubscribed for 6 months. Gonna use Amazon for this month.
Shadow Wolf, thank you very much for that resub and your 6 months of support. Okay. So with that out of the way, I feel like working on magic. So magic is going to be an optional one. The primeval magic of Scar utilizes words of power alongside a mana mechanic. It introduces new skills and options for experience to be spent on. Draw land. Oh god, Toshime. Yeah, I know. It is very powerful.
Yeah, because what is that? Essentially, you're rolling like 10%, like squared or something. Or you'd be like 10% whatever repeating. Because if you're exploding on the die on a 9, then you're also going to then explode, again on another 9 and then another 9.
Or 10.
Yeah,
Or
10.
10.
So I think, yeah, the math behind it it is essentially adding an entirely new dice that begins to roll again. It is a very, very powerful thing.
That is half the point, just like Era says. Like, getting to roll the many clickety-clack. I forget. Does rolling an exceptional amount of accuracy successes do something? I'm pretty sure it
Yes.
does.
If you roll 5 or double what their evasion score is, then the hit is considered a critical hit. At that point, you can choose to either multiply your dice pool for damage by 1.5, or you can choose to do, or you can choose to have the 9s explode or 6s counted or reduce difficulty on the damage roll. You have to choose whether to use 1.5 dice or the 9s or 6s before you roll, but you can choose whether to use 9s or 6s after you roll and see your results if you go that route.
Yeah. So yeah, they're...
Hey there, Dun Brian.
It's not that much of a debuff to take away the damage as part of the crit chance thing, because that's already built in.
Yeah. But we had removed power from that as a whole a while ago anyways. How you doing, Dun Brian? But yeah, so magic. It introduces 3 new skills. Sagacity, verbosity, and phonemics. Sagacity is a measure of the maximum strength you can upgrade each word to. Specialties in this allow you to use the word twice or thrice if mastered in a single spell. Verbosity is a measure of how many words you can string together, up to 5. Specialties may be taken with storyteller approval for specific words to allow them to not count towards the limit. Phonemics is a measure of how many words you can know. Unlike verbosity, it is not 1-to-1. Unsure how many yet, specialties allow for more words in different categories to be learned. These 3 skills add up to determine your mana pool. Mana is used to cast spells and is based on how many words are used as well as their strength. Mana is regained during any rest by rolling the combined magic skills and regaining the number of successes. Mana is restored to full at the end of a long rest. Oof. Yeah, I understand that, Dunbrine. I hope you're able to rest well.
Well, we've got the basis there. It just seems like we need to fill it out a little bit.
Yes. And of course, it's going to need playtesting, which is part of why I want to get it going a bit more.
Hey, is Fuse interested in learning magic?
Very much so. Is Fuse going to be able to be brought out of the, purgatory in the near future?
I'll get back to you on that. I say vibrating with the desire to do so, but knowing I am probably not able.
It's okay.
Not anytime soon.
We just need to get rid of one of those other games.
One day, over the rainbow.
A wise decision.
Daycats, thank you very much for that follow. Welcome. I mean, yes, Era, we can have the Pokemon one as well, so we need to get rid of all of Key's other games. Except for Recallers, obviously, because Recallers is important.
I was gonna say, Era runs 2 of those games, and the only other one I am working on finishing, because it's finally coming out of its hiatus next week.
So we're only going to be able to add one more game to your stuff? Outside of what Era's got going with you? Dang. I don't know if I'd want to go with Pokemon or... I really want to bring out Fuse again.
Due to agreements, it would have to be Pokemon first. But I don't know how long that would last.
Fair.
Because that could go anywhere from, like, 10 sessions to a fair number more. Anyway, magic.
Yes.
So I will confess, I am completely unacquainted with the Words of Power system. I just know of it and that it sounds neat.
So the way that I plan for this to work is you will have a set of words of power that you know, and they can have different effects to them. For example, you might know power, so you add 1 power to the spell that you're gonna cast. You can string these different words together, so you could have power, heal, and thus you got 2 words going into the spell, but it does 1 point of healing to the target. At least that's the general gist right now. You can add fire to it to make it do fire damage. You can add you could add sphere to it to make it have an AoE effect of a sphere. So on and so forth, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The real difficulty here is balancing it with moves. But...
yeah, but that's something that will have to come with time, because...
yeah.
I understand you're giving me examples, but right away there's the issue of, well, you'll only ever be able to utilize power up to 3 times in a single spell, and that's using 3 out of 5 potential word slots.
Yeah. The advantage of magic over moves is that whereas moves you have to spend the XP and there it is, the move is constructed. The advantage of magic is it's more modular. You are able to put things together on your turn. So you don't have, so you just know power and heal. You can do power, 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 heal, heal, or something along those lines. And or you can do heal, 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 and power, power. You can adjust it how you want to on the fly, which is why they probably will not be as powerful as moves, period. But on the flip side, they're more dynamic and flowing, and you're able to do things on the fly. They've got a lot more utility to them, in other words.
Okay.
I do want them to at least be able to reach somewhere close to being comparable to moves and strength, but I also do want them to specifically be, you know, the biggest, heaviest hitting damage moves are going to be weaker, or the spells are going to be weaker than the maximum potential of a move. But that is on purpose because, like I said, they're far more dynamic. You decide on the spot, okay, I want my spell to do this. That makes sense?
Yeah,
Sure to
that
you
makes
too?
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I like magic a lot. Magic's always been a high priority for me.
Yeah, it's not going to be like D&D and Pathfinder where you buy Firebolt and that's it. It's specifically that's how it works. It's going to be far more fluid and you decide on the fly, and your storyteller. We're going to have notes in here that your storyteller, you can propose how you want it to work, but your storyteller has final say on how the words actually work together. They're probably going to slow down combat a bit, but to be fair, that's just spellcasters period in any game.
I mean, anytime you're trying to come up with a creative solution that isn't just I bonk, you know, you're always going to introduce things like that.
I mean, some people are functionally capable of looking at their sheet and picking out what they want to do beforehand. I am not some people.
I was going to say, I think that's like 10% of players that are able to do that.
It doesn't help when you're a prepared caster. When you're a divine prepared caster, especially, because you have access to everything on a given day.
And most people don't actually switch out their stuff in the middle of the day. It's just like, yeah, I could switch it out, but unless something tells me I need to, I'm just going to keep doing this.
Why are you clearing your throat, Era?
Because Era likes being a prepared caster.
Actually...
Actually, what?
Whenever I... Oh no, that was just good. Like, it was gonna be like, No, honestly, whenever I see prepared casters in games, I always just let them do spontaneous casting. At least in my previous games, I'm like, I just let them do spontaneous casting, no matter who you are.
Well, the problem with that
Just
with
'cause-
Pathfinder is that that just basically means, well, why bother being a sorcerer?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
everyone gets. I do actually, for the sorcerers themselves, I do actually increase. I think I increase either how many spells they can either learn or how many spells they have. But I think I increase just how many spells they can learn. That's just kind of what I do for them, since they're already not able to learn much. I just kind of increase that a little bit.
But again,
Mostly since I've
why
had
bother
newer
being
players.
a sorcerer then?
Those are the sorcerer feats out there. It's not all just the spellcasting. There's a lot of things that spellcasters
Well,
have for.
Sure, but the spontaneous casting is the entire premise of the sorcerer. Like,
And being able to not care about materials for a good number of spells.
well, you don't have
Oh,
to
yeah,
do
yeah.
that anyways in a lot of them if you've got the spell component pouch or casting focus, whatever.
Yeah, usually the only thing that's actually tracked is gold cost on spells, and that's about the only thing that ever gets. If there is going to be a tracking, it's going to be things like Resurrect that has a gold cost. That's more than like 25 gold to cast the spell. That's about the only time people actually look at that.
I know I had a player at one point who, during one of my sessions, they actually brought with them a bag, and I was like, okay, I guess that's, just standard thing. And no, they packed this bag full of all sorts of random stuff for all of their spell components. And so we're in the middle of combat, and suddenly they just throw a handful of those, the Valentine heart candies
Yeah.
for one of their spells, and then pulls out a feather and waves it at me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, well, these are the components for my spell. Wow.
Natasha's hideous laughter. Oh no.
Yeah, that's what it was so clever of them. I enjoyed it.
Ooh, muffins.
Preparation is good and all. But have you ever tried just stabbing your enemies and bathing in their blood? Seems to work out for me.
Yes, that's called being a blood wizard.
But that involves
Toshime,
preparation.
yeah, you are supposed to bribe your storyteller with those treats, yes.
Ah.
But it was still... I was still so confused, and it was so much laughing after that. Because literally, I'm just looking down at my notes waiting for her to say what she's doing, and suddenly I just get pelted in the face with a handful of tarts.
No, I can't bribe you with muffins, but I can bribe you with egg.
Okay. You get one extra success on your next roll.
Yay!
Adorable.
Wow.
That said,
Wiggle,
And
wiggle.
before the roll is a 1.
where should we begin on magic?
Well, I put down the general proposal, as you can see. I think our first step would probably be to look at being the ability to use, or how strong the spells can be. Oh, right, that's what I meant by it. So with sagacity, the maximum strength you can upgrade each word to, and then specialties allow you to use the word twice or thrice in a single spell.
Oh.
So you
right,
could
right, right.
have power. You could upgrade. You got 5 dots in sagacity, so you can purchase power 5 times, and then you get
But would that
go ahead.
but would that count against your phonemics limit?
Um,
Because it does say upgrade.
I would say it does not. Upgrading a word would function separate from how many you can know.
Okay. In which case, thumbs up. Let us proceed.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and specify this. So you can upgrade a word for power up to 5 times. And then, if you get the specialty, you can use the power 5 twice or thrice if you master it.
Okay. This makes more sense. And that alleviates my previous concern about having to utilize power multiple times in a spell just to get, like, a 3-power spell.
Yeah, I forgot about that, and that's why I'm clarifying it.
So,
I was like,
that...
I'm sitting here like, I could have sworn I addressed this somehow, but I don't remember how. Carry on.
So, by default, now spells are much more comparable to moves. And it means that their upward power limit, if all you did was use power 3 times in a single spell, which requires a hefty investment, that is a power 15 spell. So I would say that the power cap of a spell doesn't need to be any different than the power cap of a move.
Yeah. Yeah, we can keep it as the same power cap. It is just that you could utilize up to this, but it'll be capped at the same power cap for moves.
Which makes sense. Attributes are effectively, quote-unquote, your level.
Hey there, Scooter! So yeah. Which I do want to compare, because with that, the maximum power on the spell would be 15. What is the maximum power for a move?
The maximum power for a move. Let's see here. Move creation.
Power cap for moves is 4 plus 2 for every 5 attribute dots you have.
Let's see, at 10 attributes,
So that
you
would
can have up to
be-
8 power.
If you've got all of your attributes maxed out, which are 5 of them, that would be 50 dots.
Okay. So, let's see. 10, 20. So that's a total of 24 power, I believe, is the cap for a move.
Yes. Which, I'm okay with that. With spells being that 15 as opposed to being able to reach the full 24.
Yep. They just happen to reach their maximum overall power before moves do. Which is fine. It just means moves grow in raw strength for a longer period.
Yeah. Honestly, we may want to spread it out a bit. Like maybe we should change the power cap for spells. still with that 15 max, but we could change it to being, I don't know. Because also technically the XP cost would be probably quite a bit cheaper. Because even if we make... Oh god, I'm getting into math and my brain is already hurting now.
Gently pats your head. It's okay. All we need to do is note down that we want to figure out a good way to spread out spell power cap.
Yeah, I'll turn the details of these things to, you know, the numbers. I'll turn that over to Tal and let him figure that stuff out. For now, we can focus on the proposal. I don't want to visit the math dragons tonight. Actually, I wish the math dragons were here so we could work on their stuff, but, you know, in more full. But
Such is not possible this week.
alright, so spells have a power cap of 15 maximum. I'm okay with that. Because of course they'll have skills and such on top of that, but just like moves do. It's just they won't have the maximum power for the move be 24. It'll be 15. But again, far more dynamic and probably cheaper overall on XP for what you're getting out of it. Though I don't want it that much cheaper. Because again, they're very dynamic, whereas moves are set. Each word can be upgraded up to 5 times with increasing capability. Each. And we can figure out what each word can be upgraded into later. Though we will want to make sure that each word is a linear upgrade.
Yes. Because they are already versatile in that you can mix and match them on the fly. Giving them branching progression is asking for trouble, at least at the moment.
Well, what I was meaning by that is it's like power 1 is 1 power, power 2 is 2 power, so on and so forth, for ease of calculating exactly how they will interact with each other when strung together, potentially multiple copies of the same word. Because, like, if we had power 3, you know, the word for power 3 be like 3 power plus 1 dot. Just to throw something out there, it's like, okay, so if we're stringing together power 2 and power 3 and then power 4, and how is it all going to interact? And okay, maybe that's a bad example, but yeah. We want to make sure that it's clear, a clear line is displayed on how they are upgraded.
Thought.
Yes.
Do we want people to be able to downcast if they want to?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. I think that's the one thing that always made me sad about Pathfinders. There's clearly spells that you should be able to up or downcast, and you can't.
Yeah, words can be downcasted for a lower mana cost or to keep within bounds, such as power cap. Power cap. Though with this, it does mean that their mana pool is going to be a maximum of 15.
Correct.
We may
Unless-
want to increase that.
Well, I was going to say, unless there are ways to increase it either via specialty or equipment.
Or feats.
Or feats. Actually, feats is a great idea. My mind immediately going to a feat that can boost your mana cap by 5.
I was thinking we'd have it the same as the healthy body and such. Where
Oh,
it's...
well, that works for me. That's even more than 5.
Well, it depends on where the skill is at.
It does, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Obviously, the characters are probably going to wind up specializing into one or the other. You know, they'll go for moves or they'll go for spells. I do want to have it be more accessible, but that would kind of require looking at the foundation of the system as a whole for XP. Because one thing that I have noticed, storytellers are really bad about giving out bonus XP.
Yeah. Era's trying to make people better at it. Speaking of Era, I am being whisked away.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll wrap this up then.
Yeah. Sadly, it's
Yeah, I'll be-
midnight for me.
Fair
and I'll be
enough.
honest with when it comes to the bonus EXP, I even had to talk with Tal about that because I'm also I'm very narrative a lot of times and forget to do like rewards and stuff. So yeah, I had to talk with him about how to actually kind of go about doing that as well, to not forget. Especially in a system of bonus EXP, is I'm used to milestone for everything.
Well, the attributes are basically milestone. You will have to make sure you give out merits for expertises. But we may wind up just doing away with bonus XP and changing the XP per session as a whole.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times it's like, because a lot of stuff like, sometimes you'll roleplay for like 3 hours straight, and well, I know you want to reward people for doing good roleplay, it's also kind of hard to put a number on that sometimes, where it's just like, oh, here's this amount of number for doing really good job at talking, and then it also kind of puts people where the people who are like maybe doing or maybe more extroverted will end up being more powerful than other people because of the way bonus EXP works and stuff like that, and then you end up having more of a power dynamic that kind of starts to creep around a little bit, so it's hard giving people advantages for doing a little bit extra.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only other thing I'll do is prepare the patch notes. And then we'll wrap up this recording and move to a game. But thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate your help. And keep thinking about words of power and what they could do. And toss them in Scar suggestions for me.
When I have slept and can breathe.
No worries.
Good
Oh, when the hell
night.
did I wind up fully to Lucario Squirrel?
Oh, you can thank Ido for that.
Fair enough. I just didn't realize it happened. But yeah, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, buddy.
Is the jiggly plushy to Whiskers?
Oh. Looks like I am breaking the Discord's cap with this update. So we'll split this into a couple of messages. Alright, there's that. Here's this. Publish. Publish. Oh, right. I should probably put this higher up. You know, before the first note box. Well, no. I do want it to stay there. It feels the right place, but at least they don't go very long before they have the explanation for note boxes. Holy crap, this is a massive update.
Just shows you're putting in the work for it.
And the highlight can be removed from handling ties, because that's been taken care of. This goes to blue, because it is now 2 months old. And scrolling down.
It's a Raijin.
Die!
What?
Raijin cute.
Duke, Chi, Wah. Duke, Chi, Wah.
Wow.
Alright, so that can be deleted. Oops. Deleted too much. Quack. And remove that paragraph. Take off the highlight on that one. This highlight can go away. This can be removed as a whole. This can be removed. Take off the highlight of this. This can be removed. Oops. Too much. Let's bold this. I told Rex to come in here, but he hasn't replied yet, so I don't know what's going on. Also, sorry for being quiet, everybody, but yeah, just working on things. Mostly on the
Okay.
Discord.
You're good, buddy. That's why there's stuff going on the screen. Several things, actually.
Those paws.
I'll be right back. I need to check something in real fast.
Okay, so got that out there.
There we go.
Welcome back.
Oh, whoa.
You know, I could use a snack, Pakesh. This can be unhighlighted. Shields are still pending. Accessories are still pending. That is good. I don't think we've actually finished going over innate traits yet. We're still working on some of the armor and equipment trait stuff. Oh, chat buddies are welcome. Yeah, we'll come back to that later.
So how goes the work tonight?
Ah, we got some good work done.
I see the work took so much out of Raiji and became Obi-Wa.
Raijin was in here working on this, so he popped in after. Because now I'm just writing up patch notes.
Patch notes on the patch notes. Actually, I had to close the windows. It was so cold and wet out there. It's like 6 Celsius or something at the moment.
Alright.
The rest of the house off to bed.
What up?
Oh, just asking if the rest of the house was off to bed since, you know, Zoom was basically here all alone.
I'm here.
He's asking about my house, and, well, Rex should be coming back.
He said he was taking a 3-hour break, but
A 3-hour tour. Just sorting out real life magic cards to make a raccoon and bear deck.
Alright, so we got that. Multi-attack can be unhighlighted. Except for that paragraph.
All the fussy editor stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is more update notes kind of stuff rather than editor stuff.
This is why you get paid the big bucks.
I do? Well, this is
Oh, they're
news to
around
me.
somewhere.
Sunder. Alright, attacks of opportunity. That can be removed. Page 62.
Almost afraid to talk because I don't want to distract you at a critical typing moment.
Oh, go ahead and talk. I just may or may not respond. So, hey, Secret Roo.
Hey, Secret Roo. Hoppy hoppy.
Yeah, by all means, engage with the others here in voice and stuff while I'm working on this.
It all started the day I was born.
And it all went downhill since then.
Joke.
I think that was the premise of a Benny Hill skit.
I was specifically referencing the Doofenshmirtz line.
Oh,
Both
and
of my
there's Zim.
parents failed to show up.
There's Zim Kindred wrecking Christmas. It was shiny and egg-shaped, so I had to take it.
Egg.
Egg. Hey, Alpal. Egg.
Things you don't want to hear from a kobold.
Yeah. Seems to be very quiet tonight. I guess everyone was highly engrossed by the amazing VP debate on TV. Cough, cough.
I don't keep up with that stuff.
I don't either. I just know it was tonight because, you know, there's, you know, half the news stations with a counter ticking downward, and I'm like, well, thank you for the reminder to not turn on the TV at all tonight.
Look what you did.
Bye, Raijin.
Look what you did to Raijin.
Oh. Well, the power of the beard pulled his head.
Oh, to be honest, I did take a day break to do literally anything, like, day break from literally everything, because a new MMO just dropped tonight, and I am currently trying to get to max level.
Oh, power grinding.
Very much so. I'm currently killing 25 worker spiders, desert rhinoceros, and some scarabs. Classic stuff.
I said, for me, it's just working on a furry themed magic deck and looking at my older cards and going, wow, this is, and this is.
Do you what kind of magic do you end up playing?
Well, I'm trying to get into Commander since that seems to be the favorite format for most, especially at conventions players. So it's like, okay, I've got a bear themed deck that constantly gets Raffle Stomp because it's my first deck and not really power tuned, and this one's going to be a more power tuned raccoon and bear deck.
Yeah,
Using
Commander.
Bellow.
Go ahead.
Using Bellow as the commander.
Yeah, I go to at furry conventions and stuff. The two most common tabletop games played at furry conventions is either Root or Magic the Gathering, depending.
Yep.
And it is also Commander. That is just what people do.
Yeah, like they don't want to play funsy 60 or 100 card decks anymore. It's Commander, 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 Commander.
Commander is 100 card.
Yeah, but it's 100 card singletons, whereas, you know, 100 card regular Magic is, you know, 4 of each max. There you go, and of course, no Commander.
How familiar are you with Magic?
Yes.
So I have gone like really high ranking on like Magic the Gathering Arena and stuff, and I can see why Standard isn't really that much fun. It's almost impossible to balance a game when you only have so many cards that you're able to even like access, and the fact that you can have multiple cards, it's either going to be like any successful Magic deck for like Standard is going to be a 2 or it's going to be a 3 to 4 turn win. So you're just constantly chasing 3 to 4 win decks, and if you're not winning by turn 4, then either someone's messed up or someone's playing a no fun deck.
Well, that's what I play Magic for, funsy decks. Like, I don't care about turn 3, turn 4. Like, if that's what I'm aiming for, I'm better off pitching pennies in a urinal.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying is like, because the thing is, you'll end up playing with people who are always, they're gonna whip out the red deck, and they're gonna have like 5, 3/1 goblins on the battlefield by turn 3 and swing at you for 5, 6, 20 damage, and then you'll just win, and then they'll be like, okay, you want to play again, and then just like, you literally just won in 3 turns, and I have 3 mana and a fairy fox on my battlefield, and you won in turn 3. Why would I want to play with you?
That's the thing. I mean, that's how I'm learning it in Commander, unfortunately. Like, guys are whipping out their primo, power 10 Commander decks for, quote, casual fun play. And then they look at me, it's like, oh, why don't you want to play again? It's like, because you're killing me in turn 2? You're winning in turn 4? Like, where's the fun in these decks? Like, I could literally, see that you've scanned it offline, just bought those cards, assembled the deck, and that's it. Like, what skill is here?
Yeah, and let's say the skills in the execution, but the execution is like luck. So like,
And you see
Magic
so
just.
many...
I mean, to be
Magic
fair,
Awards
Yu-Gi-Oh's way worse.
Yeah. Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh reward power creep. Like, if you do not keep up with the best of the best of the best, you're right back to pitching pennies in the urinal again. And I just tell them, I'm here to play and have fun. But I mean, if you're going to whip out these turbo killer decks, you guys could sit at that table over there and label the no fun table.
Well, and also the thing is like people, especially when people like they have a different idea of what their deck. Because like, keep in mind, if you let's say you exclusively play turn 3 wins in Commander, for example, and you build a deck that wins in turn 4, you've already reduced your total like deck ability by 25%. So if you were playing a 10 deck, now you're playing a 7 or 8 deck because you take an extra turn to win. That's kind of the mindset though, because that is essentially reducing their deck by 25%. And so they're like, oh well, this deck can't even win until turn 5. Well, now that must be a 6 deck. You know what I mean? Because it's the number is relative to what they already have, and if they started as a power gamer, then anything less than utter annihilation is going to be to them a weaker deck that is worthy of playing against casuals. So you can't really accurately measure your deck because there is no official standard. It's just how the person says, and there's no way to even counter that until you actually see it and then experience it in person. And by that time, you've already had a bad time.
And that's what I keep telling them. It's like, you guys are just, killing your own fan base, but, they're so locked to this must win, must win, must win. They don't care that there's a shrinking fan base until basically it's them and the other few whales. Then they start crying about, well, where's all the players? You murdered them.
And one of the biggest things are people like, okay, well, I'm only going to play with my $20 deck, and they'll say it like it's some kind of like pride point for them, but it's also like you're playing against someone who's new to the game with a $20 deck, which sounds nice on paper, but now you have 20 years of experience and a $20 deck, and those combined still equal, extremely high powerful decks.
Yeah. But you can't wipe experience off the board. I mean, it's like board games. I mean, you can only randomize the dice so much before it's like, well, they've either memorized the best combos, or it's just their background experience
Yeah,
goes, well, this.
I mean, it'd be like saying, okay, I'm gonna nerf myself in Jeopardy. Like, you either know it or you don't. You don't just, like, wipe your memory because, you know, that's you. Like, you can't really handicap your own memory.
Yep.
And that's just the natural state of any game that ends up being like this, unfortunately.
Any competitive game.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's why people like board games where you start on equal footing at the start of the game. Everyone starts on an equal footing, which is why stuff like Root is really popular. You can be really good at a Root game. You can be really good at that game. And the thing is with that game is usually people, if you were winning really fast, people are going to notice, and they're, you know, it's going to be a 3 versus 1 table until everyone else is kind of caught up to you a little bit. So at least there's something there. You know, there's something. It's not perfectly foolproof, but at least, you know, everyone starting on the same page at least has the potential for, you know, at least a little bit better of a time.
That's why I like bringing my board games to the fur cons, because, you know, Magic's one thing, but sadly most people playing it now have forgotten what fun is. It's win, 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 grind, grind, grind.
Well, even then, like, and the thing is, it's like, it's almost one of the, and like, for example, people will, if they all try and do that, what they're going to end up doing is they'll just run gimmick decks. They'll run heavy gimmick decks, because that's, like I said, their version of handicap, where they have to achieve some really arbitrary win condition / lose condition for everyone else, and that's like their handicap, is they have this super niche kind of like win set.
Yeah. But that's the thing when you're playing against, quote, filthy casuals. You have no idea if the guy's some tournament pro, or if he's a brand new player who's just trying out their first theme deck. Like, I've been playing for 20 plus years, but I'm still considered garbage at it because I build fun decks. I'm not here to win in turn 3.
And like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just is so, but I mean, I don't even see it talked about. Like, it's not even, I can't imagine anyone playing that with friends. It is so far out of the realm of, like, normal for me anyways. Because that's like, you can win before the other person even takes their turn. Because there's no downside, there's no resources that you have to build up in the game. It is, you just play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game for what it does, but it's another one of those that, again, rewards power creep. It's like, I'll just whip out a board game, you know. We could all be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, or we could be a dragon running a cafe, or, you know, whatever the newest fun game is.
Yeah, there's not too many for board games. Tabletop Simulator has a lot of stuff on there, which is really nice. They kind of branch paths a little bit, but
Flamecraft is the current hotness.
Flamecraft
is the current hotness.
I haven't heard of that one yet. Is it on Tabletop? Oh, probably Tabletop Simulator. Does it have its own Steam game?
Yes. Oh no, I don't think they've got Steam yet. They're just a board game. It's a small company, I think, out of Poland, of all places. It's you're all dragons, and you try to run cafes and restaurants and stuff, and basically, it's a resource gathering game, but you're all dragons.
There's a kobold game similar to that I was playing with friends and stuff. There was a kobold version of game that I really liked a lot.
Try and collect furry board games, you know, because it is a niche market. I've got several, like the Cult of Barnacle Bay. That's the D&D tabletop furry Dungeons and Dragons game. The miniatures are quite nice. Granted, they totally lost the plot with their latest expansion. I think they're a year behind, and they're still bragging about going to conventions and showing off the prototypes, and their backers are like, well, you know, give us our stuff. It's great. You're going to another con. Give us their stuff. Now there's a shipping strike. It's like, well, there's another 4 to 8 week delay. I've got the TMNT Furry tabletop board game where you can play as the Turtles or Splinter or several of the other background characters, so it's a fun game too. Audience and the game tolerance that your furry crowd has. Like, I mean, most cons, the people there do not have the quote time or background to play a 1.5, 2 hour game. They want like a 30-minute or your next game's free thing, like Red Dragon Inn. That's a good one.
There's a lot of I mean, in general, there's a lot of the board games out there. The only problem is like half of the board game is like trying to teach the rules, and then half of it's trying to play. But then if someone only has 30 minutes, then all you're doing is really just being able to teach them, but without actually being able to play. And it's just doing anything that's long form is so difficult at like a convention and stuff, because your time is already so limited to begin with. That honestly, tabletop games, that you have to have a pre-made group or something like for that.
Yeah. And most of us have learned that. So I mean, we're filtering out our longer, games, putting in shorter, easy setup ones. But
Okay.
it's a matter of welcome back.
Nice.
It took 4 posts in total, but I have gotten out the patch notes for this last month's work. Holy shit, we did a lot of work.
Congrats.
So yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this recording. Thank you everybody for joining us on the stream today so far. That was DevTales, as well as a little bit of an Marten stream. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. They are on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, as well as picking up packs of cards to stream loots, subscribing to our YouTube, or by going and trying out our SCAR system that we've been developing for a while and giving us some feedback. But for now, thank you so much for joining, everybody, and I bid you all the most fondest adieu.
Bye.
Oh wow.
Bye.